Alright guys, we're going to go over 5.4 right now. So it's all about the mid segments. So I feel like we're good with this. So let's try to make this one quick. So what is the length of mid segment NO? We know that NO is a mid segment. How do we know it's a mid segment? What is a mid segment? A mid segment is a line segment that its endpoints are the midpoints of two of the three sides of the triangle. Now, that third side of the triangle, in this case, we see that the midsegment NO, N is the midsegment of LJ, and O is the midpoint of LK. What is the other side of the triangle? That JK. JK is parallel to NO, and NO is half of JK. Those are the main things you need to know for midpoints. For midsegments. So, if we take a look at this first question, our answer, what is the length of midsegment NO? It's going to be half of JK. Okay. So what about this? Name the segment that is parallel to JK. Well, JK, it'll be AB, correct? Because we look JK right here. What's the third side that it did not touch? So this JK, this midsegment, the two endpoints of the midsegment JK are J and K, and K is the midpoint of line of side AC, and J is the midpoint of side BC. What is the other side of the triangle that midsegment JK did not touch? The AB. So not only is JK half of AB, but JK is also parallel to AB. All right. So what is a midsegment? We just talked about a midsegment is a segment whose endpoints are the midpoints of two of the midpoints of the triangle. So a midsegment is a perpendicular segment from a vertex of a triangle to the line containing the opposite side. No. What they just described is an altitude. The second part. A midsegment is a point that bisects a segment into two congruent segments. No, what they just described was a perpendicular bisector. A midsegment is a segment connecting the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. That sounds about right. What about D? A midsegment is a segment whose endpoints are a vertex of a triangle and the midpoint of the opposite side. That is a median. So the answer is C. What is a midpoint? We already know that one. Okay, so let's take a look here. So if we take a look at this, name the midsegments and sides that are parallel in ABC. Well, we have that EF is parallel to AB. Hold up. Because actually... Okay. We know that it's asking us to name the segments and the sides that are parallel. So let's do that. So EF is the midsegment and is parallel to AB. So EF and AB. DF is the midsegment of AC. And ED is the midsegment of BC. Now, EF is parallel to AB, right? We just did that. DF is parallel to AC, and ED is parallel to CB. Now, there's two properties of midsegments. One of the properties of midsegments allows us to compare parallel. So EF is parallel to AB, like we just talked about, and that allows us to make assumptions like, is this a corresponding congruent, alternate interior, stuff like that. And the other part, the aspect, is the length aspect. So EF is half of AB. ED is half of BC, and DF is half of AC. So that's pretty much what this was all talking about. Okay. So this looks confusing, but because it's a lot of words, but we already know what we have to do. We have to go step by step and write down what they're giving us. You write what's given. You write down what they give you, and then you see if you can infer any other information. So points E, D, and H are midpoints of the sides of triangle TUV. So it's telling us that this is a midsegment, this is a midsegment, this is a midsegment. Now, why are they telling us that? They're telling us that so we can safely assume this. That all of these are midpoints. H, E, and D are all midpoints. So if H, E, and D are all midpoints, what does that make H, E, E, D, and H, D? It makes them midsegments. So now let's see what else they give us. UV is 58. So UV, this whole thing is 58. TV is 72. And HD is 58. 58. Okay. Find HE. So what is HE? HE. Okay, so we don't even care about this one or this one. All we care about is VU. Why? Because HE is half of VU. HE is also parallel to VU, but we don't care about that right now because we're not looking at angles. We're looking at side lengths. So what is half of 58? I believe it's 29. Yeah, it's 29. So that would be your answer. This is very similar. So find the value of x. This is a midsegment. How do I know that? Because I have an endpoint here that is bisecting something and an endpoint here that is bisecting this line segment as well. So what is half? This is half of the third side that it did not touch. Notice how this midsegment touched this part of the triangle. This midpoint touched this part of the triangle. What's the third side of the triangle that it doesn't touch? This one. So that means this is the side of the triangle that's parallel to this, as well as this is half of this guy. So what's half of 110? 55. Okay. So same thing here. Let's read. It's a lot, but let's read sentence piece by piece and see if it's easier than it seems. X is the midpoint of UV, Y is the midpoint, T is the midpoint. Okay, so they just told me this again. So now I know this. Okay. If MV is 41, okay, so MV is 40, whoops, 41, U is 63, and yeah, so if what is, find UXY, so UXY. Okay, so they want me to find this part right here. So I'm going to find this part. So remember we talked about that midsegments also have, they tell you that something's half of something else, but they also tell you that you have some parallel lines here. So I know that YT is parallel to UV. I also know that XY is parallel to VW. So now if we want to find this missing angle, I'm going to have to pick two of these parallel lines, whichever ones, because this one doesn't have one. Do you guys see how UW does not have one? There's no midsegment here. So this, or that and that, one of those pairs is going to be useful in finding this missing angle. So the first thing you want to do is find your transversal line, because your transversal line is the most important. And what do I always tell about transversal lines? Your transversal line, because this could be it, this could be it, this could be it, this could be it. All of these could be transversal. Any line could be a transversal. Your transversal line should be the line that has your desired angle. So UV, this line right here, has my desired angle, this guy. So let's write that. Oops. So that's my transversal. And what should be my two parallel lines? If I do, yeah. Remember, guys, please don't get confused by this. A lot of people, when they hear me say this, they're going to be like, oh, Mr. Well, you said parallel line. This one is the parallel. No. I'm saying, what are the two parallel lines that we should draw out so that the transversal transverses it? So if I asked you guys, what is the parallel line of this transversal? Sure, yeah, it's that, because that's a parallel line because they're parallel. But what I'm asking is, what are the two parallel lines that are going to be drawn so that this transversal is actually transversing something? It's going to be XY, and it's going to be VW. So now do we see the answer? What is the relationship between this 41 and this missing our desired angle, this UXY? They're just corresponding angles. Now, just because they're corresponding angles does not mean that they're congruent. Corresponding angles that are on a transversal, corresponding angles that are on a transversal transversing two parallel lines are congruent. So this is extremely important. Writing this is important. If you had just two lines and this transversal, but they weren't parallel, you could not make the leap that this is 41 and this is 41. You can't. You need to know that this is parallel and parallel. But we already know the property of midsegments that X, Y, and VW are in fact parallel. Okay? Now, once again, please do not try to do this in your head because you're going to get it wrong. You guys are going to put 14 because you're going to see 2x, because this is what a lot of you are going to do. 2x equals 28 and then x equals 14. Fantastic. So that means if this is 14, so what's 2 times 14? 28. So this and this are the same length? No. Okay? We know the first thing we want to know is we want to analyze this. Okay. I know that this is a midpoint and this is a midpoint. How do I know that this and this are midpoints? Because of the bisection. So now this is a segment whose endpoints are the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. So what do I know about this side of the triangle? The third side that it did not touch, they're parallel, and this is half of this value. So that means 2x is equal to half of 28. Whoops. Of 28. So 2x equals, what's half of 28? 14. And now x is equal to 7. And that's your final answer. Okay? So once again, same type of deal. I have two pairs of lines, of parallel lines here with values, and I want to find x. I want to find the value of x. So there's two possibilities I could do. I could set this one up to equal half of this, correct? So I could have y equals half of 7x plus 3. Now, why should I not do this? Why would this be a waste of time? Because I'm not going to be able to find x if I have a y. I cannot solve for one variable given two. I can't do that. So this is one gigantic waste of time. So even though, yes, this is parallel to this, and this y is half of this value, that's not going to help me to solve for x. So what I want to do is actually lock in on this midsegment and this side right here. So it's going to be x equals half of 10x minus 56. So we're going to do distributive property. X is equal to 5x minus, because I'm getting half of negative 56. What is that? 28, right? Minus 28. So minus 5x minus 5x, negative 4x equals negative 28. So now x is what? 7.7. So my x is 7. Oh, it's funny. They're both 7. Guys, that's just a coincidence that they're both 7. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at this one. Okay. So now, I like to write down things. You guys already know that. So df is 26. So df is 26. So this whole thing is 26. BC is 6. Okay, BC is 6. And DB is 8. Okay, and it's telling me to find the perimeter. Okay, find the perimeter of ADF. Okay, so the perimeter would be this length plus this length plus this length. Well, I'm going to put in blue what was given to me, and then in red, I'll do what we gathered, what we inferred. Okay, so DF is 26, BC is 6, and DB is 8. Okay, well, if DB is 8, and I know that this is a midpoint because of these bisection marks, then I know this is going to be 8 as well. And now I know that if this is 6 and BC is a midsegment, right, because of the bisection, of what line? Of this line right here, the third side that it did not touch. So that means that this, whoops, that means that this is half of this length. So that means that AF would be what? 12. So this whole thing would be 12. So it's 26 plus 8 plus 8 plus 12. Wow, okay. 26 plus 16 plus 12, 12, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 54. So your answer would be 54. I hope that's right. Pretty sure that's right. Well, the steps are definitely right. I just don't know about the final answer. I'm pretty sure it's 54. So if it's wrong with the calculator, just comment on the video, I guess, and you guys can roast me. You know, you guys can make fun of me. It's okay. So BE. So let's look at the figure to the right. If BE is, wait, I'll do it in blue. It's easier to see. So BE is what? 2x plus 8. Okay, and DF, this whole thing right here, is 5x plus 7. So find DF. So they want me to find DF. Well, did anything change? Has anything changed from what I've been doing? This is half of this. You just draw it out. Just literally write it out. So 2x plus 8 is equal to what? Half of 5x plus 7. That's it. So now 2x plus 8 equals, what's half of 5? 2.5? Sure, let's do decimals, because I know people like decimals better. Plus 3.5. So minus 2x here, minus 2x here, minus 3.5, minus 3.5. So cancel. So I'm going to be left with 0.5x. And then what is 8 minus 3.5? 4.5. 4.5, right? So now this is the same thing as this. This is why I like fractions better, guys, because now I don't have to divide by 0.5. I can just multiply by 2. So now what's my x? Isn't that 9? 9. And they asked me for DF. So I'm going to put that back into DF. So what is 5 times 9? 45. 9, 8, 27, 30, 45. 45 plus 7 equals 52. So that means that this right here, so that means that this one, if this is 52, that means this has to be 26, right? So what is 2 times 9? 18. What's 18 plus 8? 26. So everything's good. Everything checks out. So all right, that's it for 5.4. So I'm gonna do 5.5 in a few minutes. So that was nice and quick. I hope everybody understands mid segments really well.